talk show that comes to you on AYV television. As always, I have members of the lounge, and on my far right is Hannah Fuller.
Hello, everybody.
And very next to me here is Tanya.
Hello, everyone.
And Williams.
Hello.
So these are members of the lounge that we normally bring you issues, discussions, try to answer to questions that you may have through the guests that we bring on the show. So today we will be looking at a topic that is very close to my heart, and that is choosing a career. Now, choosing a career is a big challenge that most people are faced with, and majority of people I've spoken to do not feel fulfilled in their current jobs, or they have to stay on for various reasons. Choosing a career is not a quick fix, and a lot of people, I believe, will learn a thing or two from this conversation. So here to help us talk about this all-important topic is Edlin Elba, Managing Director, Job Search Sierra Leone, who has helped people in Sierra Leone to build their careers over a decade. We are delighted to have you, Edlin.
Thank you. Hello.
Right, so first up, Job Search Sierra Leone. What is it all about?
So Job Search is a human resources management company, which I started in 2008. It started as a recruitment company, which is why it's called Job Search. And when I decided that I wanted to go full-time with it, it was a bit of a decision, keeping the name or changing it. But I'd already built a brand with Job Search, so I decided that what I was going to do was advertise a bit more so people knew that it wasn't just recruitment, that it's a full human resources management suite that we provide. So we do the recruitment, we do skills development, which is my passion, and human resources management services.
Okay, so, as you were talking, what came to my mind is that you are somebody who's more or less outsourced by institutions to do recruitment and skills training for institutions.
We do that as well, yes. Those are part of our services. Okay. So we do some training ourselves. I'm a trained trainer, so I do that. We also facilitate, so we create the environment for the training to take place. We hire trainers to come in and do that. And we also work with the Tibet Coalition, that's Technical Vocational Education. We work with NCTVA to design programs for higher education. So yeah, the skills development space is really where I'm enjoying being at the moment.
All right, so let's come back to our topic, choosing a career. First of all, what is a career?
So a career in a work environment is a journey. It's a process that you go through in terms of the different jobs that you do, in terms of the growth that you have. So your training, your skills development, your own personal development as you go along. That is what the career is. It's a journey.
So what would you say is the difference between work, calling, and career?
So work is a task. It's a job. It's something you do. A calling is a desire to do something. Most times it's something of probably a social nature or a spiritual nature. So you get a calling to serve God or to serve children, or that's what a calling is. It's a desire, a feeling that you get to do something. And a career basically is the progression now that you make doing whatever it is that you're doing.
So your calling can actually be your career.
Yes. So yes, basically what you do could be a calling. Yes.
I actually want to take the meaning of calling deeper than just that desire that you want to implement. I want to look at it as something you are ordained to do, something God actually predestined for you to take on in life. And I just think that, the calling can be different from your career. But I also want to think that the career is something personal. It's a personal decision that you have to make when it comes to career. What do I want to do? But the kind of society we find ourselves in now, you notice it has gone from that place where it's an individual thing to a kind of thing that a family has to have a say in it in Africa. So if a child says, I want to be a doctor, and the father says, no, I don't get money, for make you pursue that in the fair not that thing.
That's interesting, but it's very true.
So definitely, it's always been that way. It's not new. There are various things that go into building a career or even starting a career. You have obviously the money issues. So you have to decide, are you going to do something fast that you can start, a job quickly so you can start earning? And that is why I like, or one of the reasons why I like technical and vocational education, because you can do that in stages. You can start off with a certificate, get a job, and as you progress, you continue your studies. So that's one way of doing it. Also, people choose careers from seeing other people. So they have people that they admire growing up. Some of us didn't feel like we had a choice. I started saying I wanted to be an accountant very early on when I didn't even know what it meant. And my dad grabbed onto it and just led me down the accounting path. So I ended up being an accountant, and then I moved into HR. There's all kinds of other things that come into play when you do it, like what the trends are. So now, for example, everybody's talking about STEM, your sciences. And if you follow the trends, you will know that, yes, you'll become employable. And, you could go down that way. The creatives as well are making waves right now. So if you're following that too, maybe you can decide that that's the way you want to go. At the end of the day, it's about prioritizing what matters to you. So is it your passion? Is it something that you like, that you want to go for? Or is it something that's going to get you paid? Or is it something that's, going to get you the good jobs, whatever, get you traveling? There's all kinds of things, that could go into starting a career. And honestly, you don't have to stick to it. So like for me, I just said, I moved from accounting to HR because that was where I found myself at that time, and that was what I wanted to do. And you can always change at any point in time, but you just need to do your research. And
talking about change, so at what point do you think somebody should change from one thing that he or she's doing that she's not feeling or he's not feeling fulfilled about? At what point do you think that change should be made?
Okay, so for me personally, I don't think anybody should be doing something that they don't want to do. I always say it's a long life. And if you're stuck doing something that you're not enjoying, you're not feeling fulfilled, then you need to do something about it, at least try anyway. So at that point, when you start feeling like you need to get out of this, or you don't enjoy this anymore, you don't want to do this, then you need to make that change. Again, people do it for family. So maybe they don't even want to make the change. But then they have kids and they're not spending enough time with their kids, and they decide, okay, fine, I need to have a career change. So whatever the reason is at that point, you need to make a decision that this is not what you want to do anymore. And you need to set goals for yourself.
To make the change in a place where there are opportunities, other opportunities. For example, in Sierra Leone, you have a job now, you are blessed to have the job. There are no other opportunities, because there are just limited opportunities in this place.
Well, it could be that, but also I think we have a lot of people who just look at a job as a source of revenue. This is where I get my living from, so let me just endure whatever comes with it. People don't really stop to look deep down and,
That's it.
Yeah, so for me that's what I think.
I would like to ask Edlin here, let's say a school-going young person is listening, watching the show. and they know they have to make a career choice and they don't know what to do. I mean, how do we go about it? How would they go about it? What's the best route?
Okay, so there's various things they can do. First of all, the colleges have started providing career counseling services. We provide career counseling services. There are other recruiters who do that as well. You can go online. Kids are allowed to get on the computer. We encourage them to get on the computer these days and just go in there and see what the different options are and how they can go about doing it.
So thank you so much. You said something earlier about doing what you like. I think one of the challenges, especially in Sierra Leone, is sometimes you do what you like, but you're not making enough money. So it's maybe something you're passionate about, but how do you turn your passion into something that's lucrative? And I think that's
okay. So I started talking before about setting goals for yourself. And it's very important for you to know, decide on a path that you want to take. When do you want to make this change? What is the process in order for you to get there? I started job search in 2008. I was in full-time employment. I continued in full-time employment up to 2014. With job search, I always say it's my little handbag. So it gave me the extra cash for my travels and things like that. But I had already made a decision in 2012 that this was what I wanted to do full-time. So I had to put things in place in order to be able to do that by 2014. When I got out, I was ready, and I knew that this was the one that had to make the money. So I had to do everything that I had put down in my plan to do that.
So would you say the time you spent in employment was like preparation?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. People ask sometimes if I feel like it was a waste of time, starting off doing all of that. And no, not at all. I did 5 years at KPMG. I did my management accounting work and HR work, risk management work. And then I did GT Bank for 1.5 years. And then I went into the public sector for 4.5 years, which was the one that taught me the most.
And how did you find the transition from the private sector to the public sector?
It was very hard, especially the manner of working. It was very difficult. But I'm here today knowing a lot, still learning obviously, but it definitely was useful. And I always say, a lot of people, even the ones at college now, just think about going straight into self-employment. And for me, I always say, at least a year in an office for you to learn structures, how things work, before going off on your own. Otherwise, it's more difficult because now you're learning by reading and you don't know how to do things properly.
Alright, this is Mamdis Lounge coming to you live on UIV television. Today we're talking about how to choose a career. And to help us do that, we have Edwin Elba, Managing Director of Job Search Sierra Leone. And the conversation has been very interesting. We'll be right back after this break. Hello and welcome to Mamdis Lounge.
We laugh. We cry. With the tastiest guests and the best banter. All signed up by Mamdis Lounge.
Mamdis Lounge coming to you from the prestigious Radisson Blu Hotel.
I think they've been really generous, huh?
Yeah, they have been.
In allowing us to be here today.
Do this very edition here. And today we are talking about how to choose a career. And in the lounge, to help us talk about this, is Edwin Elba. She is the Managing Director for Job Search Sierra Leone. And before we went on the break, you mentioned something about decide on a path in choosing a career. Now, so I'll take myself as an example. I decided on a path when I was quite young. I wanted to be a nurse because that was all I knew, because I saw people dressed in, very nice.
So you
pink
were attracted by
uniform. I was actually attracted by what I saw. But eventually, what I'm doing now, what I did back then, has nothing. It's nothing close to being a nurse. So I would say stumbled, because I got this interest by actually seeing people on TV, talking on TV. I just liked the attention. We go to our neighbors to watch TV, and everybody will be watching, such rapt attention. So I liked that, and I said to myself, I would like to do something like this. I mean, I talk and have people look at me. So that's how it started. So I decided on a path, right? Initially, I wanted to be a nurse, but then I went to my neighbor's house to be watching TV, and there I was looking at myself as wanting to be on TV. I desired it. So again, you can decide on a path, but then you can also, something like desiring something might come up. Like in my case, I desired to be on TV, and I liked it. So at some point, I used to have my little friends sit around, and I'd be in the center, talk to them. So that was how I got into this. So we have situations like this where people actually stumble.
Of course.
Right. So how do you get to a point? I mean, in my case, I didn't know, even when I started working, all throughout my time on TV or radio. In fact, every time I was selected for an interview, I failed. Not because I wanted to. I didn't hear, first of all, the first job I had on TV, I didn't hear when they were calling for auditions. So I went there late. By some stroke of luck, I got in. I found myself in another institution, a media institution. Also, I didn't hear anything about my name being mentioned for an interview. So sometimes I think there could be a design, something like God destined you to do something. So does that count in choosing a career?
Well, most definitely. It's what we talked about earlier. There are various situations that bring about career changes. In my case, I was bored at work, and there was an HR department. I was interested, and I said, can I start one? And they said, sure. Add risk management, add marketing, you're good to go. And I started it, and I liked it. So I continued. So, I mean, there are all kinds of reasons why people would fall into careers. Sometimes people go in to act for someone in their office. And then they realize that, actually, this is a nice job. I like doing this. The question is now, how do I get good at it? What do I need to do in order to be able to make a career out of it? That's what it is. So you need to do the research. You need to find out how you can do that. You need to position yourself well in order for you to be able to do that. That's basically what it is. But there's all kinds of things that could lead you to that point.
So we are in a country also where people, like I keep saying to people each time I have the opportunity to talk to people, we have people in a certain place, in a certain job, just for the money aspect, without no satisfaction whatsoever. Again, some people might say, if I leave this job, where do I go? So the fear of the unknown. So now you are a career, molding expert, if I can put it that way. So if you have somebody watching you now, thinking that I have a job, I've been in this job for 5, 6, 7 years, but I'm not happy, I don't like what I do, I don't get better at what I do, I'm just doing the same thing every day. What would you say to somebody like that?
It's about priorities. You need to prioritize what matters to you. Is it your fulfillment? Is it the external environment? Is it the money? You need to put in the work as well. Some people are lazy. Some people actually do want to do something else, but they're just lazy about doing things. So you need to make a decision. Is it something that you really want to do? Do you want to do this? And then do something about it. And when we talk about the money, like I said again, job search was my little handbag on the side. You can do something that you love. Slowly, okay, you start the process. It could be on the side while you work, and then build it so that it could become the main thing. Or it may never become the main thing, but you still just get the fulfillment from doing that as well.
So let's say I'm fresh out of college. I have a degree, but I chose to study whatever it is because my parents wanted me to. And then I come to you and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. And I tell you, this is what I studied, but I don't really like it. What would you say? What's the process? Like, what would you do? Can you walk me through it?
So again, it's all about what's available to them at the moment.
Okay.
A new graduate probably doesn't have the resources to go and study something else at that time. And you need to go into something first. Start something. First of all, you don't even know whether or not you like it because you haven't even worked in that environment. Okay? So go in, find a job, and remember also, you're not only going into jobs because of your technical skills. You're going in with whatever transferable skills you have. So you could go into something with one of your transferable skills, not necessarily your technical skills, and find that you actually enjoy whatever job it is that you're in, or even the company that you work for is what you like more than the job that you do. So I would obviously advise someone to start. Go for it. Find what you're good at. Find the skills that you're going to use to find that job. Get in and see how that progresses. And then you can make a decision about the next steps.
Is there a possibility that you can be good at something, but you don't like it to be, your career?
Most definitely. And that's where hobbies come in. So you probably just want to do it as a hobby.
Yeah, I'm just
not
good
necessarily.
I don't necessarily. I don't even know what to do. So how do you go about trying to understand yourself and trying to know what you are called out to do? I don't know what to do. I want to do something. I have to do something because money has to come in. And the thing I find myself doing, I am skilled at it, but I don't like it.
It's the same kind of process. It's just about thinking, what else can you do and how you can go about doing it.
For me, will take me to where the issue here of people always thinking that for me to make a career choice, it has to be mainstream. What is considered normal, as in you have to be a lawyer, you have to be a doctor, or an accountant. Whilst there are other opportunities, sometimes even the challenges that we have in our communities and providing solutions creates jobs for people. Quite recently, my institution that I work for hired some young men who formed a company. It's a recycling company, and they created a whole playground from the use of used tires, and they look beautiful. So for me, I would like you to speak to the issue of maybe you would say deviating from what's supposed to be normal, to I would like, for want of a better word, to say abnormal, out of the way career path.
So I spoke earlier about trends, and that is one of the trends, the creatives. Some of us are lucky that we've already found our careers because we're not creative at all. But the creatives are doing things right now that, especially with job creation for starters, because they're teaching a lot of people how to make things. And, they're coming together, forming these companies, and they're inspiring to other youth as well. So that's definitely a good thing. The problem that we've had so far, and not just in Sierra Leone, it's a societal problem globally as well, is that the issue of people having more respect for people in certain careers. And you have to be a certain kind of strong person for you to not pay attention to things like that. So as much as, yes, I went into accounting, but I always say to people, I used the vocational route and went into professional, okay? Right. So I always relate to my TVET people that I work with and tell them, you don't have to go to university if it doesn't work for you, if you don't want to. Okay, if you want to, it's fine, you can do that. But if you don't want to, you want to do something else, then you can use the technical implication of route, because it could still lead you to wherever it is that you want to go. So when we stop looking down on people for what it is they do, then people will start coming out and start doing more of what they love. Exactly. There are people who just love wood. They love making things. But everybody sees a carpenter as a carpenter. Nobody wants to sit there and say, my child is a carpenter. You know? But then, when you do research, you see skilled carpenters worldwide making amazing things and making money too. So you need to do that if it's what you love and be good at it.
So that's the thing. That's the thing. And what I would ask also would be on that line, is it absolutely necessary to now have formal training, and does that help to give you that respectability? I mean, a hairdresser, a professional hairdresser, a chef, you know, and somebody who says I'm a gourmet chef and that sort of thing, just to bring you above, you know, a step higher, and they're not going to say, be ashamed to say, me picking a carpenter, you know.
So formal training is always good because of what you learn from it, and then again because society has more respect for people with the paper. Okay, so yes, formal training is good, but for me, I would say be good at what you do. Okay, then if you can add the formal training to it, the paper, then it's fine. But just be good at it. Make sure that if you say you're a chef, you're a chef. You can actually, you know, prepare. You can actually do the things that a chef should do. And for a chef, actually, you probably would have to go through formal training. But you can start off probably cooking, learning about the kitchen, learning about what have you, and then when you get to that point, you do have to, you know, reinforce it all with some formalities. There are certain things that you don't have to go to college for. There are things that you can learn on the job. So if you're with the right person who can teach you how to do something, then you can be really good at it.
You're talking about looking down on certain professions. And I can just remember there was a time my son said he wanted to be a firefighter. And I was like, you know, because when you're looking at, what is happening now, you're looking at the fire force officers, and the level of salary, the salary they pay them, and all this sort of thing, the constraints that they go through. And your son tells you, I want to be a firefighter. You just want, you just want him to just...
So you're one of those moms that always...
No.
That sounds like that.
Well, you have to guide the son to let him know that if you have to be a firefighter...
But if all mothers decided that they didn't want them to be
firefighters,
who would put the fires out?
That's where I was going.
Exactly. All right, okay.
That's where I was going, actually, to talk to the parents. Because, so when I was growing up, I thought I wanted to be an accountant. I went to school I was good at it because my dad is an accountant, my mentor an accountant also. And then I got a scholarship to go and study. And I remember going to college and I took this anthropology class. I loved it. And I thought maybe I'd become an anthropologist. And then I remember I was talking to my friend one day, and she's from Swaziland, and we were just having this conversation like, if I go back home and people are like, what did you study? You come all the way along. Go America, go study anthropology. Like when you meet people who study dance in college, we were like, you will come home, but you don't serious. You come home and study that. So I think maybe parents also feel the pressure, like you were saying, because you want, as much as you want your child to do something that they love, it's about being able to support yourself and being able to sustain it. And of course, there's a respect factor. So that's a big part of I think you spoke to the heart of the issue when you talked about respect. So I have a new tailor now. He has a degree. Okay, 2 of them actually. I don't know what he studied in college. I don't know what he studied in college, but he's very good. But what I like about him is he does the tailoring as usual. He has a very good shop, but he's very professional. Like when you meet him, you know he's educated, and it's not. It's just the way he carries himself, and he will tell you, okay, your clothes will be ready by so and so time. No, if you want it at this time, this is how much you pay. So and it's interesting because the way I relate to him is different from how he relates to
any other tailor.
I'm not going to tell him, well, be like, no, I will give 30,000. This one, when he charges me, I'm like, okay, I'll pay. So we are all, I think in a way, we all contribute, we all fit into this thing, but I think more so, parents are under a lot of pressure. So for me, I'd like you to talk, because you're a parent as well, to talk to parents out there. So if your kid wants to do something, so how do you manage it? Should you allow them? If you're a parent out there,
we have a parent here. The child wants to be a firefighter. Talk to all of us.
And anymore, right?
Anymore.
And that's what I was going to. No, for starters. People change their minds anyway. So first of all, when someone says they want to do something, ask why. Like, what is it?
Yes.
He probably just likes to see, the macho. Probably outgrow that anyway. But some people actually do want to be firefighters because they see people helping other people through that. So if that is what it is, then encourage it or guide them in another direction that they could still fulfill that desire to help. So, there's all kinds of ways of doing it. But seriously, some people have ended up being very resentful of their parents for not allowing them to do what it is that they want to do. And to them, I would say that parents should try to be as supportive as they can. A lot of parents really think about, one, the money for sure. I'm going to spend all this money on your education, and I better start getting some returns.
So you have to do a good job. Investment.
Or even if I don't get returns, at least let me not be responsible for you while you're an adult. So of course they have to have a say in, it's like, what is the plan? Yes, you want to do dancing. By all means, do dancing. What is the plan? And you must have a plan. If that's what you say you want your career to be, then you have to have a plan for your career.
And then what you're saying now takes me beyond the career, meaning your livelihood, and you have to think of when you are no more physically able to work or do anything. So it means that the career is necessary, or something to do is necessary, because there will be a time when you're old. And then what happens? Who takes care of you?
So let's say if you are a dancer, for example. Example.
If you're a footballer in England, you see, we see some of these professions. Another thing, we are not enlightened about some of these professions. For example, like a firefighter, it was when my son said, I want to be a firefighter. That was when I looked up firefighting. And that was when I noticed that, there are a whole lot of things about firefighting that, they help people, women who are in labor, and all those sort of things. So you don't have that understanding of some of these professions.
But that's because you are enlightened. You are able to do a research on the firefighting.
When you are in Sierra Leone, Mamdi,
I have a mother who is a military.
They don't do some of these things. They don't practice their profession to the fullest, just so we understand what their profession is about. So we are ignorant of
some of these dignity in labor. That's the issue.
That's the thing.
So
but it is an honorable profession if you choose it.
Yeah, but I think it's when we choose it. So I remember my friend used to work at NME, and I remember going to visit him. The guy who was a cleaner, there was something about him. Like, he was always smiling. He was very warm. And I remember one time I went there, and somebody made a comment like, "Oh, look why they make like saying that and call the cleaner." Like, what was I don't even know what was the point of it. The guy did not feel bad that he was a cleaner. He was very dignified about it. Like when you come in, he will be cleaning, he will smile at you, talk nicely to you, and then show you, like, direct you wherever you need to go. But I think it's when we come to that point where whatever you're doing, you do with dignity. If you're a cab driver, you're a taxi driver, do it with pride. Clean your taxi. Make sure this is my job. I cannot go to college for this, but this is my office. And I actually had an argument with a cab driver the other day because he was trying to charge this white guy. And then the guy didn't fall for it. And then he was like, "Oh, white people are better than us." Well, you don't want to hear about the conversation. But I tried to talk to him that this is your office. So take pride in it. Don't overcharge people. Let people come in and pay what they're supposed to pay. But don't see yourself. I think we have to, if we're talking about career, we have to think about mindset. We need to have a cultural mindset change. Definitely. There has to be a change in the way we think about things. There has to be dignity in labor. That's why if you're doing whatever job you're doing in the office, it doesn't matter what your salary is. If you take pride in it, it will affect the way you do your job.
How can you take pride when you're disgruntled?
Yeah, but you chose to do it. Nobody forced you to do it.
Sometimes you don't have a choice. But also,
sometimes you don't have a choice.
You have to work. Sometimes you don't have a choice. But what you were talking about just now as well made me think about something. Having a proper learning environment. For you to be able to do your job properly. So even the cleaning, for example, one of the mineral companies from back in the day used to bring people to wash cars because it's a skill. And our car washers here don't realize that you're not supposed to scrub it or you're not supposed to use certain types of soap on it. So they brought skilled people in to wash these cars and hopefully train our people to do that. But that is one thing as well. It's like the cleaning, for example, knowing what chemicals to use, knowing what direction to, knowing which mop to use where. I worked in McDonald's when I was a teenager. You have your mop, your toilet mop goes nowhere near the kitchen. You have your blue cloth and your red cloth and all of these things. We don't do these things here. We don't take the time to make sure that you have a proper learning environment and know how to do things properly. When you have that kind of environment, it's much easier for you to be able to take pride in what you do because you're learning something and you're doing something the way it should be done. You're not just going on the floor and scrubbing on your knees. You're using like a nice mop or, even if you're scrubbing your... you're doing that's what it is. Even with the firefighters as well, they don't have the proper equipment. They don't have proper uniforms. So you see them, they feel we had a fire where I worked a few years back, and these people had to go in without the proper safety gear. And when you see these people, you're just like, how do you do this? So yes, I understand it when a mother says, no, I don't want this for my child. But again, it's our job because we're the ones here developing our country. So it's our job to make sure that some of these institutions actually work. And that's why I love the skills development side of things because, again, where someone pays for the equipment and the uniforms, I can help provide the learning environment so that people actually know how to fight a fire. That's what it is.
Thank you, Edwin, for bringing this up at this stage because that is so important and it's part of the problem that we have in Sierra Leone, wherein I think we take up jobs more from an apprenticeship position or entry point. I see a lot of people enter media as apprentices, and then they don't take the time to really even understand what it means being a journalist, the ethics of the profession. And these are the people who go, they'll tell you I have a newspaper, they go and blackmail people, they write, and the grammar is incorrect, everything is all over the place. And then you have somebody also would have a cleaning company. What Edwin said, okay, you don't use a mop that you use in the kitchen in the toilet. but do we really? We have a lot of cleaning companies. Do they really even pay attention to things like that? I see institutions where they hire cleaners that are outsourced. The cleaners, when they get there, they now are mini MDs or mini dispatch men. They do things according to when they want to do it, how they want to do it. There is absolutely no system. So it's like you are a service provider, but then maybe because you've not taken time to do the service you are providing properly and learning a lot more about it, so you're not able to deliver. So again, the issue of dignity in the labor and all of that, it's all out of the door. I mean, you go to the airport, the cleaning people who are at the airport, they drag their feet, they don't have uniforms. It's all, and this is the face of your country, and we're not taking things seriously. So I think the career thing is, are we employable? Those issues as well. Our attitudes when we get to the job, the workplace, we think we know it all and nobody should correct us and stuff like that. So it's all wrapped up in the whole career thing, getting fulfillment and feeling fulfilled, I think.
So you mentioned people coming in with an attitude of they think they know it all, but they don't, obviously. But then do we teach as much as we should as well? I get laughed at a lot because I correct people a lot. Today I sent out an ad from my company, and the one I sent was the one that was incomplete, and nobody told me. So I watched it, I don't know why, and then I saw that it was 15 minutes short, and I was like, and I had to delete a whole lot of them and send it out again. And then, I said, oh, this one's complete. And, a couple of people said, yeah, I noticed. And I'm like, you didn't say? And then they just said, oh, no, I just thought, whatever. I'm like, no. Like, I would have said, excuse me, this isn't complete. And that is just, on Facebook, people make mistakes all the time. And I go, behind the scenes and I'm like, excuse me, da-da-da-da-da. And I want you to do the same for me because, yes, I make mistakes too.
Maybe it's a cultural thing. We don't give feedback and...
Probably it is, or probably people feel that you'll be embarrassed, but you're more embarrassed when your mistakes are out there looking at you and everybody knows. So I think we should make more of an effort to teach.
Right, the conversation is getting very interesting. Don't forget, you're watching Mamdis Lounge on AYV television. To be a part of this conversation, you can join us on our social media platforms to have your say. We are still talking about choosing a career, and we have Evelyn Elba here, Managing Director for Job Search Sierra Leone, and we've been having very interesting conversation, right, ladies? All right, so talking about feedback, Evelyn, personally, I would say people don't, most of the time, people don't take kindly to being corrected. I would say for my profession, for example, like Hannah was saying, we have for me, I think journalism is the easiest profession that one gets into. Every day you just see people with some badge or some tag saying, I am a journalist, without going through the proper channel. So for me, what I do in those cases, and when you come to my office, I remember not too long ago, two guys walked into the office and said they wanted to interview my boss. So I said, okay, so you have to come through me. Let's talk. What is it you want to talk about? And, when the first ones, I was like, so people know me, my friends know me. So I said, you're not a journalist. He said, yes. I said, you're not a journalist, you're not even able for construct, proper English. They say, you're not a journalist. I would say it to you like that, But these are the things. So people don't take kindly. Because again, let's say, for example, still on journalism, you have people who are on radio or probably on TV or newspapers. You have their friends, the circle, their family members who say to them, I see you on TV yesterday, be let you even talk. Without even, if you ask them, what do you see? Yes. You'll not be able to say that. Yes. So those people, these things get into their heads. And when you meet them and try to tell them honestly what you feel, they say, this is why they can't tell me what you have. So tell they jealous me. So these are the things, you understand?
It's okay. And for me, I don't worry about that side of things. I worry about having done, what the learning experience for someone. Just told someone what I thought. And again, it's not about me. It's not, I probably didn't like it, but someone else did, and genuinely the person probably was good. We all see things differently, so it's fine. But I think also you touched on that a second ago. People don't know how to give feedback. And also people don't know how to receive feedback. So it is part of our communication skills course about how to give feedback and how to receive feedback. And you have to know how to say certain things, especially when it comes to things that may offend. Because you know when you're about to offend someone. Like you just put yourself in that person's shoes, and obviously you know that if you were the one who heard that, especially when it comes to your career, you definitely don't want. But also, you have to know who it is that's giving the feedback. Is it somebody that this person respects? Okay? Is it somebody that you feel is worthy of telling you that you didn't do it properly or that you were wrong? So if you are not that person, then maybe you should talk to someone else, someone who that person respects, to do the feedback. Because some people wouldn't take it kindly if they don't think you know what you... Like me now, going into your space and saying, oh, actually, on that show that you did, I didn't think you should have done and you just like, because you are Asia. So you have to.
So the feedback might actually not be welcome,
right? So you have to know who's giving the feedback, how they're giving it.
Yeah, I think the how also is very important. So if you work, like for example, you come to me and say what you did ABC, I don't think you should have, or you didn't. I would be expecting you to tell me how you think I should have done it better. So I think that's the. So people must
And that's another thing. If you cannot say how you think I should have done it, then it's a problem. Because there are some people that just come up with criticisms and they don't know how to fill in the gap. You just say, oh, this year, so before don't do it that way. Okay.
I agree.
Well, how before don't do it? No idea is there. The person doesn't have any idea as to what to do. Just that kind of vain criticism. Another thing, Evelyn, you find out that people go to universities to create themselves, and when they come out into the job market, they are unable to apply themselves. This is happening in Sierra Leone a lot. They will spend like 4 years at the university, and when they come down at the end of the day to apply themselves in mainstream work, they are unable to do that.
Well, can I add another question? In addition to what she's saying,
is
it that the universities do not really prepare people for the workplace?
So, again, I was going to say, it's our education system. It's a whole issue that's bigger than us, or this conversation. So yes, one, they don't prepare them for the workplace. But also it's in the way that we're being taught. So for us, we grew up cramming. You have to memorize. It's true. You memorize everything. So you don't really ask too many questions. You answer the questions, but you don't ask too many questions. You don't really think about what you're being taught. You just go with the flow. It doesn't encourage thinking. And then you come into the workplace and they say, think how now? How am I supposed to think? You didn't allow me to think while I was, going through the schooling system. So if you have a home that encourages you to think, then you're good. But if you don't, then how you're taught in school is how you're going to work in the office. You tell me what to do and I'll do it.
That's more like robots.
Yes.
And one big frustration is that you get students who go there, students that you expect to have been prepared, at the level that they were in. Say, for example, they are coming from 6th grade. Things that you expect that they should have known, when they get to university, they don't know them. And then you have to start from scratch. Maybe you have to begin to correct their subject, verb agreements, tenses, and all those sort of things that you should have understood at 6th grade. So they are coming out to university blank, and when they get to the university, it's a problem. So we just go on with our coursework. We don't go back again to begin to take you from scratch. And another thing is, I think, like you said about cramming, they cram a lot.
Oh.
Students come in.
So they don't, what actually
When
happens
you
when
ask
you
them
read, you don't understand.
So when you ask them the questions, they spit it out just like you gave them when you were lecturing them.
And then you tell them, you know,
That's-
turn the question around,
Uh-huh.
and you're stuck. Looking at you
Yes.
like,
That's why when you get lecturers, the lecturers who start asking scenario-based questions,
Yeah.
you find out that students are stuck, and most of them fail.
So how do you correct that? I mean, not at university level, but at the right stage, and you get your students ready to not just go through college, but actually utilize what they learn.
the methods of teaching is the education system as a whole.
I think we have to get them involved in research.
Yes.
So when you get involved in research, I mean, you're able to understand a lot of things, find out a lot of things for yourself, articulate them, because that's a very, very big problem we have.
From early on.
So, before we wrap up, I have to say, when you said something about, you know, when you talked about the car, about how they brought experts in, you hear this a lot. Then go bring people in Kapa can do what Saloma able do. And I think
And we talk about
so
local
I
content.
think we need to talk about that because we don't train people here. So, I mean, if I didn't know this, like you mentioned that, I would have said the same thing. I go bring people in car for car, was motor people are not there with the motor car, you know. So I think that's something you need to speak to that, because there are people who are watching this who are thinking, I mean, why do we bring foreigners in? You give them all this job. We bring gourmet chefs in who are foreigners. Why not take our own? I think as the expert here, that's something you need to speak to.
No, like I said before, it's because they don't have the skills. Yes, someone would know how to weed a garden, but do they actually know how to nourish the flowers? Do they know what to do? Do they know the different types of flowers? Do they know how to do the landscaping? So they come in and they say, oh, you're not a gardener. And then you let them loose on your garden. And you're like, what are you doing? Yes. What are you doing? So they're all skills that people need to learn. And unfortunately, we don't have these skills. And we have a lot of work to do.
So your tech vocational stuff comes in there? No?
Oh, yes, yes. So again, learning institutions need to know where the gaps are. There are studies that have been done, so they can, go online and have a look for these reports. But they need to know what learning opportunities to provide. Okay, so we're going to start doing some online ones in some of these things, that people can come in probably 6 hours. You go online, learn something, get a skill. We'll give you a free soft skill, and you carry on and see, how it goes. So those are things that we want to start doing. But they need to teach people how to do these things. Everyone's focusing on the same things: the welding, the carpentry, the engineering, the hairdressing, the human resources, But there's so many other things that we don't know how to do.
But I think in addition to that, maybe you should consider branding. So someone who's a gardener overseas would be a land technician, landscape technician, or whatever. So because we don't know what that means, we think, oh, it sounds so fancy. So I think if we could do that, so if somebody gets trained in, let's say, carpentry, and then you find a fancy title that they can put on. I'm serious. Just because you didn't say carpenter.
Yeah, but I think we're on that path right now. It's happening. So, for example, when we were growing up, we used to know people that cleans around office spaces are called cleaners, right? Yeah. So now we call them office assistants and give them some kind of...
Yes, office assistant.
Office assistant.
So an office assistant is different though.
It's different in the sense of the word. But then we have office assistants, who actually go about...
If you hire me as an office assistant, and you give me some cleaning job, I'll be leaving that room.
All right, okay, Edlin, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. But before you go, I'm sure there will be someone watching us right now who needs to make a choice, as far as career is concerned. What would be those key things that one should look out for when making career choices?
So, like Vinay said, research first. If you want to do a career choice, first of all, if you know what it is that you want to do, it's easier. You can do research about that. But if you really don't know what it is you want to do, you know that you don't want to do what you're doing, then again, find out what the trends are, find out what pays, find out if you have a family, what things you can do that would enable you to spend more time with your family. If you like the banking world, or if you like a particular company, so you've seen some good things that EcoBank does out there, and you're thinking, I want to work for EcoBank, but I don't know what jobs they have in there or what have you. Go and find out what they do. Find the one that best speaks to you, and go and learn how to do it. That's what I would say.
Right, so there you have it. Thank you so very much, Eddie. It's been an absolute, very interesting conversation.
Thank you for having me.
And so if you're out there, you need to make a career choice. You heard from the expert. If you don't know what you for do, find out what's in the trend, what's in the happy, look out for what's in the pay. If you know what you for do, research can help you. So let we all try to do the right thing as far as we career concerned. Eddie Nonka, I don't say a lot of things about, this all important topic. And me personally don't benefit a lot from it, and I'm sure my members here have also. So thank you very much for coming, Eddie. We hope to call you back at some point to come and talk about job search and career. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
All right, thank you very much. Hello and welcome to Mamdis Lounge.
We laugh. We cry. With the tastiest guests and the best banter. All signed up by Mamdis Lounge.